And everybody, good morning. Welcome to the channel. We're Hillbilly Crime, and my name is Elizabeth, your friendly hillbilly host. We are jumping on just a little bit early today because I want to go ahead and get our chat and everything going. Let everybody get in here, and we're gonna watch this arraignment together. Let's see. Uh, Let me get back over here and we're going to get ready. I know there's several different networks that are streaming it today. It'll start at noon, so we're about 15 minutes early. But I just wanted to make sure that we got on here. And Zelma, old sweet tater's going to join us here in a few minutes. Good morning, everybody. We've got Dawn French. Hello, welcome. Talls, Beth Banks, Missy Lucas. Hello, good morning, honey. What's everybody think about this arraignment and the bond? Let's get some predictions going this morning. Who thinks we've got the judge who has been assigned to this has said that she's pretty much said she's going to give him a bond, but it will be significant. And I've said before, what does significant mean? Does significant mean 500,000 or does it mean 2 million? I think Mommy said last night that 2 million was the highest that she had heard of. So I guess it'll just depend and how many supporters of Mickey's would join in. On our live last night, before we went live, I went and checked out the GoFundMe that they had put together after this happened for Mickey's family. And just to kind of catch everybody up with the details on that situation, right after it happened, a family member or somebody went and put on a GoFundMe to fundraiser for the Stines family. And the way that it was put up, immediately someone donated $1,000, another person donated $1,000, somebody donated $300. There were several that donated $200. And then pretty quickly after that went up, the person who started it had to come back and edit it and say that none of the money could be used for Mickey's defense. So, and that they apologized if anybody had taken it that way. And so that money that was raised on that GoFundMe was only to go to his family, which would be Caroline and Lila, his wife and daughter. And they had raised like $9,600 and some dollars. And that was the last time I had looked, like about a month and a half ago. And then yesterday when I got up there and looked at it, nobody had donated since the last time I had checked it. So it's been over a month that anybody has donated to that GoFundMe. So I thought that was very interesting. And that's been almost $10,000 that was raised for his wife and daughter by people. And 2 people donated $1,000 each. So just think and then in my opinion, it kind of looks like when they realized that money wasn't going to be going to Mickey, they quit donating to it. So once we find out what that bond is today, I'll be interested to see how many people try and get it together to get him out. All right, let's see who else we got here. Ruby Rourke, good morning. Lugnut, Audrey, Tanya Gay, good morning. I just had to come on here regardless of work. I love this show. Thank you for being here. We sure appreciate you. And Smokahontas, good morning, sweetheart. It's wonderful to see you. I'm eager to see Mickey receive a bond. All right, more or less. The largest bond in Kentucky for a red rum charge is 10 million. Okay. That's a little bit higher than what mommy said it was. Let's see. William Collins, good morning. What you think will come out? I don't think anything's going to come out today. I think this will be fast, fast, fast. And remember, this is in Whitesburg. I think this is happening in Whitesburg. I was going to go down there today, but I was afraid I would go down there and really not get anything. Like they could pull their vehicle into the Sally Port down there and bring him in that way, and nobody would ever see. But I don't know. I don't know how they're going to do it. So I was afraid that I'd miss the live stream if I went down there and tried to get any shots of it. Let's see. Tanya Gay. If he receives a bond, I think it will be an off the wall amount. Yeah. Yep. I think it's going to be high too. She said it would be. But you know, the way that social media and stuff like that is today, you've got lawyers that, like, okay, let me say this. I am absolutely shocked. Oh, here we go. Okay, let me get our thing going here. Give me just a second. Nope, wrong one. Okay, here we go. Yep, this is Whitesburg, you all. Look there. That's the circuit courtroom. That's upstairs. That's Jimmy Craft's courtroom. That is Jimmy Craft's courtroom. I figured it would be so packed in there. Woo, I'm starting to get nervous. I'd say a lot of supporters want Mickey out of jail. Oh yeah, there's several of them. Let's do a poll. I say 1 million. If I knew how to do a poll on this, let's see if I know how to do it, if I can figure it out. That ain't right. I'm not sure if I know how to do a poll on here. I'll figure it out and we'll do one. Let's see. Nurse Missy, Mickey knows stuff. They need him to tell what he knows. They will let him bond out. Miss Audrey, I'm thinking 1.5 million, but we'll see. Chris Cahill, good morning, sweetheart. Joshua Scott, garbage. Good morning, Mr. Scott. More or less says the death video may have convinced people to stop donating to the GoFundMe as well. It was clearly not self-defense. That's Mickey's son right there in the glasses. And there's his daughter. There's Lila. There's his wife. Oh yeah. See, if I would have went, or that's his wife, on the left-hand side of Lila. Lila, his daughter has the long dark hair, and his wife has the short blonde hair. And somebody asked in our live last night if the wives knew each other and if they were friends. And yes, they did know each other. Friends, I'm not sure, but whenever we watched that first court hearing um, of Mickey's, the way that Kevin's wife was looking over at them, at Mickey's wife and daughter, they were sitting on the other side, behind Mickey, and just the way that she was looking over at them was the way that I took it was like disgust, like she couldn't even stand to even look at them, which and those people over on the right hand side are Kevin's family. There's Amanda and her sisters, and there's Amanda's mommy, Trish. They're all family members of Kevin's wife, I'm pretty sure. They've all got the last name Mullins, though, so I don't know. And that guy right there is a jerk. I cannot stand him. That cop right there is the worst cop in the country, in my opinion. Breaks all the rules. And walks around like he is top dog. Oh, forgive me, Lord. My whole body starts shaking just looking at him. William Collins, all the justice he can afford. The hearing is getting ready to happen right now, Miss Tracy. It's supposed to happen at noon, so we still got 7 minutes, I guess. Pinto says, good morning, everybody. Yep, it's at noon. Nurse Missy can't do GoFundMe for Bond. Nope, none of that money for that GoFundMe was able to be given to him. So, and that's what I was saying. I think people were donating that money for him, for his defense. People weren't donating that money to Caroline and Lila. They got money. She's got a good job. And she don't work. I know I've said she worked at Double Quick, but she don't work behind the counter. She's not the one who you pay for your gas. She's like administrative level. She's been there like over 20 years or something around there. She is like over payroll, and they've got so many stores. They're like one of the biggest businesses in this area. So she makes good money. And for both of them to be making that kind of money, and their house was only $45,000, I think that's the biggest BS I've ever heard in my life. I mean, what do? Have their property downgraded so they don't have to pay as much taxes on it? Is that even? Are they even allowed to do that? I doubt it. But that would be on Ricky Rose, who's our PVA. I think that's the kinds of things that you get into with corruption in this area. Or it goes in every which way. I'd love to see what a real appraiser would go in and appraise their property at. Because I guarantee you it's more than $45,000. My dog Rex, look at all those tub of lard hogs. Well, I can tell you, that one standing there is the biggest joke you've ever seen. I've had my own personal experience with that man several times. Tanya Gay, with the video being seen by millions of people, it would take a coward to do a plea deal. He knows what to do and say to just like the others in the same position. Calvin Blaine, why no statement yet? Maybe he found the info he needed that was kept at the jail when he stepped in as jailer. Maybe it was folks over his head, way over his head, asking for all of East Kentucky. Let's see who all's there. Yeah, see, that's all the Mullins family. I don't know if y'all can see my pointer or not. There's Trish and her daughter, Amanda, and Amanda's sisters. Let's see. Her husband used to be my boys' little league baseball coach. Thank you, Miss Tracy. I'm so thankful that you guys are all here. This is my full-time job now. It's the only one I got. So we're trying to figure it out. Hi. Hello, Brother Smith. I think is it Brother Smith? And that's Kevin's wife up front. That's Trish and her husband. There's Amanda there. There's Amanda's sister. I think that must be family. And then, quit showing them. This guy with the sheriff on his chest, that's the new sheriff. That's Billy Jones. He's the one that that Terry Adams appointed as the new Letcher County Sheriff. And I'm not even going to say the big tub of lard's name. He doesn't deserve it. He was hired as a police officer in Neon, and for years he couldn't even arrest anybody. Like because he never went to the police academy. He had to have another officer come out and actually do the arrest. He's a joke. I think he's finally went now because they made him chief of police of Neon. What happens at an arraignment exactly? Well, I think they're going to receive the indictment. The judge will, I think they'll read the indictment unless they waive it, which I'm no lawyer, remember. And they will probably address bond. Other than that, I don't know. But we're getting ready to find out. Those guys there look like FBI or something, don't they? They're sure not fixtures at the Letcher County Courthouse. Those are new. They might be state police or something. They got a lot of security. I wonder if they brought Mickey in last night or if they brought him in this morning. Yeesh. I'm a nervous wreck. Tim Walker, not the sheriff, but I've seen that deputy somewhere. He's a joke, I'm telling you. He went down to, I'll tell the story, but not right now because we ain't got enough time. But you guys remind me and I'll tell you the story about that big tub of lard. Georgia Culture. Good morning, sweetie. There he is. I'm going to take her comments off so we can see it. There's these lawyers. think he looked at his wife and daughter. He's trying not to cry. He looked like he was trying not to cry right there as soon as he saw Lila and Caroline.
Come here.
Okay. Shh. Well, you don't have to hush. We're not in the courtroom. Sorry.
I just wanted to get it big, and I wanted Jason to come.
Oh, okay. I wonder who this blonde is on the right-hand side there.
No.
All right.
Here we go. Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's security.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor, and also the Honorable Gene Cox as well. All right, how are you? Thank you.
Now, Commonwealth is represented this morning by Mr.
Jackie Stilliard.
And your co-counsel in this case
Is Miss Randy
is
Dowd?
assigned to the Attorney General's office.
That is correct.
And that's Ramsey Dowd, and she is in trial officer.
She is, I believe, in Green. Yes.
We're here this morning for language purposes. All right, counsel, have you had the opportunity to review the indictment?
We have, Your Honor, we've taken a look at the indictment, we have an electronic copy of it, it's track.
It's up all the way, guys. I'm sorry.
We'll waive a formal reading and enter a not guilty plea at this time, Judge.
You're satisfied with Mr. Stines is aware of his rights?
Yes,
The
Your Honor,
nature and substance of this order?
absolutely, Your Honor. Yes. Judge, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt the court. We filed a notice to preserve all evidence, and I have no doubt that Mr. Still, will do that. We filed that down in district court. I just want to remove that, and I will file a written notice as well, Your Honor. And I would just ask the court to go ahead and enter a discussion.
No objection to the preservation.
And from the discovery order, I understand that it is your intention to deliver discovery to defense counsel within 7 to 10 days.
That is correct, Your Honor. Ms. Dallum actually has that. We didn't know when the rate was going to be, and we can opportunity to get it from her.
Fantastic. That works for us, Judge.
All right. No entry of a plea of not guilty. You will note, counsel, my original intention in this case was to move on issuing warrant.
Yes, Your Honor.
And in this case, I want to get no bond. After significant consideration, given the implications of Marcy's law, due to safety concerns, security concerns, the fact that the defendant was charged with capital offense, together with provisions of Rule 402, paragraph 1, defendant shall not be admitted to bond as that will be a matter. Anything else?
She didn't set him a bond, y'all. She said she's going to leave it to the trial judge.
Oh, absolutely, Judge, and I believe that my understanding was that the court simply doesn't want to take up bond at this time, but we can still file an adversarial bond.
You have every right to file an adversarial bond hearing after that. Anything else?
No, Your Honor.
No, that's pretty cool.
I will ask
See, I told you it'd be real fast.
Sir, may we be excused?
And you know what? Something else I just thought about? Don Childers, who just passed away, his daughter Missy Childers is her boss. They could post a $5 million bail if they give it to him. They're the only people in this area that have the money to be able to post a bond like that. And she's been there long enough, and she's good enough friends with them. I bet you if they do give him a bond, they'll be able to post it. I didn't think about that before. Wow. After everybody put, or after she made that quote, that she's disinclined to give anybody no bond. And then she comes in and says she's not giving him a bond. Wow. So she said she's not going to give him a bond. It will be up to the trial judge. And they have not appointed the judge that's going to oversee the trial yet. She's going to leave it up to that judge. Yeah, they're going to let him apply for bond later. Which that's the way I've seen it before. See, they were all expecting him to get a bond. The look on Mickey's face was surprised too. I think Mickey thought he was going to get a bond today.
Are those Mickey's friends on the left over there? That sit behind?
Yeah, that was Mickey's. Yeah, that was his wife and his daughter.
And some
and,
friends?
Yeah, that one guy that's that Chuck Hernandez, the one that lives down there at the junction in Neon.
Who's
He always
guy
has
with
the sheriff's deputy car out there. He's always got the sheriff's deputy vehicle out there. I don't know what he does. I have no idea what Chuck
Who's this
Hernandez
guy
does.
right here with the camera?
I don't
Is
know.
he's from off?
He's a media person, I reckon.
Yeah, he's from
Yeah.
off. He don't look like he's from
And then
around.
there's and then there's all Kevin's family. There goes Trisha's husband. There's Amanda, her sister. That's all them. And then there's Kevin's wife in the dark hair. And that's her sister, the blonde. And then that's their family. That might be their mom. I don't know.
Is that blonde-headed one the one that's married to Butler?
She's Butler's ex-wife, yes.
Oh, okay.
She's the blonde is our Commonwealth attorney. She's his ex-wife. She's the one who stole people's phones down at whenever the incident happened after Kevin was passed away. She was stealing people's phones that were standing outside of the bar down there, and she took off running and jumped in, allegedly, let me say allegedly, and jumped in a vehicle, and I reckon the Commonwealth attorney had to go get it back from her to give it back to the person because they were mad
And
that
so
anybody would be videoing.
See this lady in this multicolored shirt?
Yeah.
Who is she? The dark hair.
Let me see her face. Oh, Kevin's family acted awful down there, I'll just say. I don't know. I
Well.
didn't see her face.
Okay.
Let's see. Which, you know, I mean, I would be a basket case too if something like that happened. So I ain't saying nothing. I'm just saying. You can't beat people over the head with their cameras when they're news people. And that's what they did. She took the cameraman's camera and beat him over the head with it, allegedly. Let's see what people are saying. Yeah, that judge ain't taking chances. She letting all go to the trial judge. Yep.
She said something about his safety, and I couldn't hear it.
I think she was just giving off concerns.
Oh, everybody sit down
Wow.
until they.
Let's see. Calvin Blaine. Hello. Good morning. The less said, the less known. Push one charge. Get it done. Keep it simple. The less charges, the less talk. That's exactly right. Missy Lucas said that's her mom and dad. I'm not really sure. Oh, that was probably whatchamajigger's mom and dad.
That in that
All right.
multi.
Well, I guess that's it. Yeah. That must be.
Well, I guess I
So-
got work. I got work to do.
All right. Well, what are you all What are you doing today? Say
Me?
hi to everybody. Yeah, tell everybody
Hello,
hi.
this is Sweet Tater, and I've been up this morning and taking care of dogs. You know how they are. And I had to get all that done, and I had to cook their food and take out their pee pads and just all kinds of stuff. Now I'm going to put some plants in the ground, and I put some caulking or whatever you call it up over my door that goes outside. It's a big glass door.
Yeah.
It's a storm door, I guess. I call it the screen door because that's what I'm used to being there. I wish I had screen doors, but I don't. If I ever buy new doors, I'm going to buy some that you can slide up and down.
Yeah.
And I'm going to plant some plants and stuff like that.
Okay. Well, that's good. Here, let me see what everybody says real quick before we let you go.
All right.
Shamex too. Did one of Mickey's family put on social media that his daughter's phone was not stored in the judge's phone? Well, the police have actually come out and said that the daughter's number was not stored in the phone. That article that we read last night on the live that we did last night, they said that even though the question was asked, it was asked a funky way in the courtroom for that answer to be given. So they've come out and said that that's not her number was not stored in the judge's phone, as far as they know. Who Mickey's wife is? Let's see. Jackie Benz. Good morning. He needs to rot in prison. Oof. It's just such an awful thing. You know, people. I've heard people say, well, why do you care? It doesn't affect you, you know, Well, how do you think this affects the whole community, Mom?
Oh, I think it definitely affects the whole community. It sort of plays on their mind, and it makes them, it just makes them sad because they don't know, we want to talk to Mickey because Mickey is our friend.
Mm-hmm.
And so even though, I'm not saying that he shouldn't be brought to trial or anything like that, but I've had other friends that went to trial too. And I just don't abandon my friends that easily.
Right.
I don't know why he killed him, but he killed him, I think. I think he killed him because I pretty much in my mind think that. So it's just disheartening, and it makes us, it makes other people feel like that they can go out and shoot somebody too, that's the way you handle legal issues is by shooting.
Confrontation.
Yeah, by confrontation. Big, with big,
Well, just as, things escalate, things like this situation out in front of my house with the dog. I know I said it last night, but that whole situation it keeps escalating. Like now, everybody they're armed as they take their garbage out to the garbage.
Well, it just sets a precedent. And I think Letcher County and probably other counties in eastern Kentucky are prone to think that type of confrontation, of violence, is okay. That's their right to do that, and it really isn't. We need to get rid of that mentality.
Yeah, and self-defense. People don't realize self-defense is not an easy thing to prove, and people tend to not think about the consequences after their whatever actions are taken. Like even if somebody was attacking me or broke in my home or whatever, when I go to defend myself, if that person loses their life, I'm still they can still charge me, even though
Well, yeah, they can still charge you. Somebody said, "What's up, Sweet Tater?"
yes, what's up, Sweet Tater? That's Buckwheat.
I'm going to plant some plants. It's supposed to get to 60 degrees today, folks. Uh-oh, there's some sunshine. Woo! Woo! Make me feel better already just knowing she's there.
That's right. It makes you feel good. Get some sunshine. My dog
That was-
said that
was
was terribly brief.
That's right. I think it was very brief too. Wasn't hardly worth watching, was it?
I know it was really short. I knew it would be. These they get them in and get them out real fast.
Well,
Tanya Gay says, I guess the look on his face was priceless. He probably thought he was getting a bond. Yep. And
I don't think so. They all knew what was going to be said and what was going to be come down before they went in there. They discussed it. They're all friends.
well, what was reported was that judge said that she was going to,
Said if she did, it would be considerably high.
yeah,
And
but
so she's got feedback. That's a vague statement. And so she's got the feedback, what people thought she should do. And so the great minds are probably working together. The great, lines, legal lines. I'm not cutting them much slack, am I?
well,
And then they all went up there and visited with the judge while Mickey was either still going out or had gone out.
mhm.
So they're not enemies. Those people are trying the best they can to work out the best situation they can. That
Yep.
satisfies the family and is fair to Mickey.
Oh, Smokeahontas. I saved the video of her screaming at the reporter. Yeah, it was pretty bad. I was scared to death to even take my phone out when I got down there because I was afraid I'd get beat up. But I had just started my channel, so now I video everything. It would have been a better video if she had beat me up. So I should have pulled my phone out.
Well, I'd certainly save that video.
I feel sympathy for the community. Pike County is larger, yet we experience fewer violent crimes compared to Letcher County.
Now, I think that's probably true, but they're, they
have more
not as
people.
rural as we are. Pike County.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a little bit more open.
Yeah.
So the people have changed probably more. But I bet they don't have nearly as good of preachers as we have right here.
Look here. Miss Teresa says, hi, Sweet Tater and Hillbilly. Sweet Tater, I've been doing laundry and taking care of my 160-pound dog. Oh, my gosh.
Well, now that's a lot of dog flesh.
Look here.
I wouldn't let certain people know about my 160-pound dog. They might want to have a dog roast.
No, Lordy mercy. Tim Walker says this old lady's cool.
Me, are you calling me an old lady?
Buckwheat. I'm guessing. Oh, well, I don't think that's for us. Let's see. Jack Frost, hello, sweetheart, says I'd be worried about mountain justice if released on bond.
That's what I was worried about too, Jack Frost.
Yeah.
We already had enough mountain justice. We don't need no more. That's a good thing to call it, is mountain justice. And I wanted to comment on that thing about the breastfeeding.
Yeah.
You know what a whale does when she feeds her young?
What?
The milk just comes out into the ocean, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's got some sort of a consistency of fat where it just stays all together like in a clunk, and the baby comes right up and eats it.
Really?
Yes, isn't that the coolest thing you ever heard?
That is pretty cool. They have some really, really, really neat.
If it had been some kind of like hard disagreement, would they still have had lunch together?
What do you think?
Well, the disagreement may have been after lunch. They may have been discussing something and at lunch, because I think that they said there was some goings on at lunch too.
Yeah.
And so he went and checked some stuff out.
Well, he got a text message from the female employee that works in his office. And I don't know what the text message was. I don't know anything about that. But they said that she voluntarily gave over her phone. So whatever caused him to go up and to the judge's chambers and request this private meeting with Judge Mullins had something to do with the text messaging coming from that female employee, but we haven't heard hide nor hair.
Not necessarily. You can't make that judgment. That's up in the air.
Well, that the cop testified to it at that very first.
Well, but the message may have just said, "Mickey, I wish you wouldn't be mad."
It could have. Yeah, we don't know what it said. We have no idea, but it's tied in somehow. I just don't know how.
All righty.
All right, let's go on to the next. William Collins says they keeping him in protective custody. I'd say they are.
If they won't let the people stand up while he leaves the courtroom, and they had guards there, lots of them.
Protective custody in jail means isolation.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I see. Well,
he can't be in.
They can't. He has to be kept in isolation.
Yep.
And even if he does go to prison, he may have to be kept in isolation. I mean, he is a sheriff, an elected sheriff. That's high up there, particularly when you're in a bunch of criminals.
And he put a lot of them away.
Well, the ones, yeah, but he might, if there's any that, holding grudges, he wouldn't be safe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pinto, this definitely affects the community because there's a national spotlight on the area now.
It enhances our, what did he call it? Hillbilly justice?
Mountain justice.
Mountain justice. I like that word. It enhances that idea that the rest of the world has about us, that we use mountain justice a lot. And you know what? I guess it's right, isn't it?
Yeah. Miss Smokahontas says, I have firsthand knowledge of the environment that Mickey's family is currently navigating. Sadly, it is an area plagued by frequent violent incidents, making it a dangerous place to live in or visit.
What's that mean? His daughter and wife?
Yeah.
Well, I'd say that that's probably true.
Well,
In his desire to protect them, he may have put them in worse jeopardy.
I've not seen neither one of them since this happened, which I don't go to Whitesburg a whole lot. But
the girl's still in school, so I wouldn't want to go to school.
She's a senior in high school. This was her senior year. She's a beautiful young girl. And she's got her whole life ahead of her. But this has absolutely traumatized her and put her life into a tailspin. It has to have.
I'm very careful in my surroundings and, how I treat people and my neighbors. I try to stay on friendly terms with them.
Yeah. But it's horrible to not get along with your neighbors.
It's awful.
I tried for a long time to get along with my neighbor, just even though he was doing bad stuff and I didn't much care for what he was doing, but it didn't matter. I still tried to get along with him and be friendly with him just because I didn't want the confrontation. But now it's kind of... Let's see. Twitchy Bear says, sometimes the rest of the story can change one's perspective.
Well, it could.
Buckwheat, it's nice in Pennsylvania.
Well, I wish I could move out there to to the southern Arizona. I want to live in. I think I don't know if it's southern eastern.
You'd go there?
Yeah, but I got dogs and cats and kids and grandkids and.
I know. I've got a friend in Texas who always asks us to come and stay, and I've just got too many animals. My kids are in school. We can't do that. Spooky Sam says, I definitely think he'll get his karma outside the courtroom.
I think he's living his karma right now.
Yeah.
Because, he can't be happy about the situation with his wife and child.
Well, no. She ought to be worried about prom. She ought to be worried about college. She ought to be worried about the normal things that, young adults.
Well, she has to live with this for the rest of her life, and it's going to affect her. It's going to affect, choices she makes and what she decides she wants to be. And she'll have one parent. I'm sure Mickey's not going to be out.
Yeah, I don't think he'll ever get out of prison.
Buttons are wonderful. White like buttons are wonderful.
Yes, if you've not subscribed, please subscribe to our channel and hit that like button, please.
I was thinking buttons. Like I used to have a lot of buttons. I give them all away. And I was thinking, well, no, I don't want like buttons. I want different ones. A red and a green and a blue. Give me some color, girls.
That's right. That's right. Oh, Tracy Goggins says it's worth hearing your comments on the arraignment. Well, thank you. Thanks for being here. Buckwheat, the great minds are hosting Hillbilly Crime.
I'm no great mind, I can tell you that. I've just lived a long life. I'm right. 78 years old.
I see Shame X2 says that unfortunate dog unaliving was scary. We had a neighbor confront another one over their dog, and as they walked away, they had a hand pew behind their back. Yeah, it is a very, very scary situation. Yesterday, dogs were backing him into his driveway, and there he stands, with these and this is another night, these are the neighbors who had their dog pewed, and so now everybody is armed, and I'm scared. What's going to happen when somebody gets pewed? Like these situations just escalate. It starts out as something very small, and it just keeps going, and it gets bigger and bigger.
Well, if you
goes down the hill.
If you got a loaded gun and you're carrying it around, you're much more likely to shoot somebody than if you have to run in the house and load it up and get it all ready and go out there. So I think it's very dangerous to carry around loaded guns.
Yeah. Let's see. Twitchy Bear says, Sweet Tater, what you planting?
Well, I have some bulbs to plant, and I have a couple little trilliums, if you know what those are. They're a native plant here in the hills. And I have some, and I got me a yellow one, and I got me some great big ones, and I'm going to put them in a pot, but I don't know where I'm going to put them. I think I might just put them in my shed, but the bulbs go in the ground. It's still a good time to plant.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But some stuff, it's not good to plant, so, because it might freeze, and if it freezes, it'll freeze the roots, and it kills them.
In the spring and the summer, we'll get out and do some real good videos of your yard. She has an amazing, amazing yard full of plants.
Well, it's just, an old woman making her
digging holes.
I got me just an old, just garden that I like, antique garden.
More or less says, this red rum completely undermines public faith in the local system of justice. We can't go around red rumming judges, but when the sheriff does it, that's outrageous. He swore an oath to uphold the law.
Well, He's just an average man too. He's just a person that everybody liked, and he'd been in law and done so good. And so when he ran for sheriff, they thought he was going to be good.
Twitchy Bear says 160-pound dog equals hubby, maybe.
Well, my little Lucky, the little black and white one that likes to jump in my lap, I call him my lover.
Oh, look, Buckwheat says someone thinks their horse is a dog.
That's good. That's very good.
Teresa says, Sweet Tater, he's a good boy, and I'm not in Ohio. Okay. Let's see.
Oh, she's talking about her doggy.
I guess.
I
Shame
can't-
X2 says, I live in a city of churches and restaurants. The rest is a lot of fishing and conventions.
Well, I guess you live in a tourist city, maybe, where there's lots of really fine hotels.
Look here. P. Who. Welcome, honey. Thank you for being here. Gall dang it. If you're afraid to take out your phone in fear of having it taken, Letcher County needs a little light shining on it. Good job, girls. I enjoy your shows. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
I have no idea why I'm here.
we're just here. Georgia Culture says, I say no judge will give Stein a release. It's truly unsafe for him and a flight risk.
I think it's unsafe for him.
Well,
I mean, if he ducks and flies, which he probably wouldn't do because of his family.
Yeah. But
He's not mafia, you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
He was just a good old town boy.
I'll say it again. I would fear, my biggest fear is that he would harm himself to not go back and face the prison time, because who would want to go back into protective custody isolation knowing that that's the rest of your life?
Well, maybe not. I mean, he may not be there forever.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Who knows? The public's confidence in the court system has been eroded over time. That's very true. That's very true. Tim Walker.
So go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Tim Walker, he's law enforcement in a jail. Some guys won't go for him just for clout. Would go for him just for clout.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Single mom, true crime, says I'm on the fence with this case.
I am too. Single mom, true crime.
P. Who says, come visit Tucson, Southeast Tucson. We've even got a pool.
Yeah, I know. I got a friend there, and he sends me pictures, and of them little pigs, javelins or whatever they're called. And he's on Facebook, and he also he's got a turtle that lives in his yard. And I got another friend that lives out there someplace. I'm not sure where. If he's in Tucson or maybe Phoenix, I'm not real sure. But anyway, these little critters that are like little lizards come out in the summer, and he always posts videos of him feeding them little lizards in his yard. It's cool. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I used to be addicted to those the house buying website. I forget the name of it, but it shows all the houses that are for sale. And for like 2 years, I would look and look and look and look and look. And I looked all over the country, wondering where the cheapest property value would be, and best neighborhoods and stuff like that with the schools and stuff. And they've got some beautiful places in Arizona. Gorgeous.
Yeah, because it's kind of dry there, and warm a lot. So, you can build elaborate kinds of places. No, Mickey just has a daughter, as far as I know.
I think that boy, she has a brother, but I never knew him to be Mickey's son. So I don't know if that boy is Caroline's son. I don't know if she had him before they got married, or if that's Mickey and Caroline's son. that we just know nothing about. I don't, or at least I didn't know him. But they do have a boy, but I just don't know how.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He was the one in the glasses that was sitting
Well, bless his heart.
all the way
It's
to
be
the left.
hard for him too.
Yeah. I've never seen any posts that Mickey made about his son, but I've seen a blue million that he's made for his daughter. So we didn't become the America we are today by humping up in a corner, and we ain't humping up now. Single mom, true crime. No, Mickey just has a daughter. So that boy must be Caroline's son. Cricket, new sub. Love this channel already. Thank you, honey. Thank you for being here. My family is from Wayne County, Kentucky, and you two remind me of all my family. Well, we're a different breed of hillbilly down here. Shame X2. My grandma had jars and jars of buttons. She taught me to count with them. Yeah, I remember my grandma having jar buttons too. And she could sew anything. Like those kinds of skills, like sewing and stuff like that. That used to be a really, like everybody knew how to sew. Most women did 50 years ago. And a lot of women made their clothes. My grandma made our bathing suits. She made our dresses. She made all kinds of stuff when we were little. Do you remember that, Mom?
I don't remember making a bathing suit.
I do. She made me a bathing suit when I went up there and stayed with Dad one summer.
Well, she was mighty handy with a needle.
Mm-hmm.
You can make quilts and stuff like that. And there are people that still have those arts, and they make money with them because they make quilts and sell them for big dollars.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people like my age, I don't know. I don't have very many.
Well, they do, but they're artists. They're not common people. It's not a common trade anymore. It's reserved for the artist.
Well, it's old, like it's the older generation. Like my friend's grandma is still living. She's I think in her late 80s. And she quilts and does all that stuff. And none of her grandkids, none of the daughters and granddaughters know how to do any of that stuff.
But even people that didn't have family that quilted, that passed that on, are taking it up, I see all these beautiful things from my friends from here make that I've met through music and different things like that.
I'd love to learn how to quilt. That might be something I learned
I don't want to do it.
Old age.
I just want to plant flowers.
I'm new, just subbed up. Thank you. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button, if you will.
What was that last one that was up there?
Oh,
about the confidence.
Public confidence. It looks that way. Public confidence is bound to be a lot worse now.
Well, I don't know. Do you think it's any worse? I think that we're used to it.
Right. I think we're about used to it. I think it's just as bad. I think it was bad before. And this is just kind of,
We've not recovered from our history of 20 years ago, really.
Mm-hmm.
With all the mine wars and all that. It takes several generations to change a particular mindset.
Mm-hmm. In an area. Yep.
We're isolated by the mountains.
Ruby Rourke, hello. Good morning. Mommy is a hoot. I'm loving her.
Well, thank you.
You just don't know what is going on in people's lives and what might provoke them. That's true.
And it might not even have been that particular incident. There could have been, something else. I mean, you just don't know.
No.
It's hard to judge. I got mad the other day. Well, I wasn't mad enough to kill, though. Oh, I can't say that word. I wasn't mad enough to do any bodily harm. But I thought somebody was more or less disrespecting me. Buddy, I just told him, gave him the what for. I sure hurt their feelings, but you know what I'm saying? You got to sometimes let artificial intelligence.
Somebody jumped on you, and all you did was defend yourself. So
Oh, but I was not. I mean, I'm sort of mean. I can say mean stuff, stuff that really, call something somebody worked on a button. Well, if you didn't put all that junk on there,
you're not mean, Mommy. He just wasn't expecting to hear you defend yourself like you did.
well, yeah. But I'm just saying that may not have had nothing to do with that incident.
Right.
It might have had something to do with the way I was feeling.
Yeah, I think that was a good point. We never really know what people are going through. And so, for the biggest lesson or point that I want to make there, kindness doesn't hurt you. It doesn't hurt you to be kind to people. Even, and I'm guilty of this. When somebody's snarky with me, I'll be snarky right back. And
But if I'd have said, things in a kinder manner, it would have been better.
yeah, right. You'll hindsight's always 20/20, when it's over and you kind of playing it back over in your mind. But
I would need several 2020s. 3 or 4 times to get it right.
well, sometimes that's what it takes too. Yes, Miss Tracy, we got snow the other night too.
It was awful.
Let's
But
see.
it melted really quickly.
It did, yep. Something tells me, in my opinion, that Stines did not like what was on Mullins's phone. I don't think it had anything to do with the phone. I think the phone was just a complete red herring. And I think it has to do with the deposition and the case that he was facing. I think that was a really, really, really big factor that was weighing on him very heavily, because I think he was getting ready to lose everything in this, if this civil suit was to move forward in the direction that it was going. I think that when he went and did that deposition, he has been in a courtroom long enough to know that lawyers never ask questions that they don't already know the answers to. So when they were asking him certain questions at that deposition, I think he could kind of see the writing on the wall, and what direction this was going in. And only he knows if there's something that he's hiding. Like, we don't know if he was as stand-up as what everybody thinks he was. We don't know if he was committing any kind of financial crimes, or we have absolutely no idea. Only he knows that. And so,
Well, but I think that there was something about the phone that he didn't like. And I don't think he went in there with the intent to poo-poo or pew-pew the judge. That was not his intent. It was something that they couldn't reach an agreement on.
I'd sure like to know, I can tell you. Let's see. Tim Walker says they must be able to tell he doesn't like dogs. They can pick up on that. Let's see.
That must be down at your house.
Yeah. Cricket. I feel like there's info about this case that we just don't know. I feel like something happened and he just snapped. Temporary insanity.
I agree.
Well, you know that he's regretting it now. Why do I feel like Stines was dibbling in the rugs?
Well, I always wondered what they did with them drugs. And I don't think he was dibbling in them, because he never seemed like a druggy person to me. And let me tell you, I see a lot of them.
Yeah. And the money, people have to remember there was a ton of money going through that sheriff's department. And, money is a very big tempter. When money can tempt anybody. And I don't put it past nobody.
I
Nobody.
wouldn't put it past me if there's a lot of money going through my hands, and I thought I could take some of it. I mean, where's it going to go? It was money you took from the drug people, and so the government's going to take it. Well, why should the government get it? They ought to give it to rehabilitation or something like that. So I could feel justified in taking it.
I heard somebody say not too long ago that they were with somebody at the police, somebody in some department, and they had buy money, which is what they gave. Buy money is the money that they would give to informants to go make rug purchases, from realers, and they are supposed to, I reckon, write down like the serial numbers on that money. So then whenever they go and buy rugs from these big rug reelers, then whenever they go in and bust these people and they get the money from them, they can pull it out. It's evidence. The serial numbers will match up, so they can see that this person went in there and made a buy for us. Well, so one member of law enforcement that was doing that was cashing $1,000 a week out of buy money and putting.
And where was that at, though? That wasn't in Letcher County.
And then splitting it with whoever it was that actually went in there and got the money. It was right here in Letcher County.
How many years ago?
Just recently.
You mean, was that under Mickey's tenure?
That's what I was told, but
Well, I didn't see that, but it could have happened.
Well, nobody would see it.
Well, but that's not. I mean, it takes a pretty big decision to decide to unalive somebody. I mean, that's major,
right? And so, what would that be covering up? You know what I mean? Like, were you afraid that he would be able to speak and tell on you for something?
It had to be in a fit of rage. That's the only way that I can figure it out, that it was in a fit of rage.
Yeah.
I love peonies too. Pineys. We call them piney roses. And so I got several of them, and I got some out here where it's too shady that I'm going to have to move. But I didn't get them moved this fall. I might have to wait till spring.
Ruby Rourke says, "Oh my gosh, I garden too, Mom. I have a lot of older plants too. My flower garden is over 20 years old."
I've moved mine, and I've had one all my life, I suppose. I like flowers. I don't know why.
Yeah, I remember being a little girl and
I see when I said about eating him, and she said that was so high. I'm sorry, I didn't make that connection. I should have made that. That was good. Very good. I like that.
Teresa, it's a dog, I promise. I mentioned Ohio because of them being eaten. I love sweet tater. Oh, thank you, Miss Teresa.
Oh, we haven't told them why I'm called Sweet Tater.
Oh, okay. Well, go ahead. Why are you called Sweet Tater?
Well, I didn't want to be an agitator or a dictator or any of them other kind of taters. I just wanted to be sweet.
Oh, Sweet Tater. I love it. She didn't want to be an agitator or a dictator.
I think it's unsafe to release Stines as well. I would worry about his safety just like I worry about the safety of his family. They're not surrounded by judges and police and so forth right now. They're the sort of like the outcasts of the community. That would be, I'm not saying that I've seen that. That's not what I mean.
Yeah, I know.
But sympathy for them would not be as great as the sympathy for the other guy.
Well, now they have a level of shame that they have to carry, and it's not their deed. Like that's not their shame. they shouldn't have to carry
Well,
it.
if your dad was a moonshiner, you'd carry that shame. It's just the way people are.
Well, and it ain't no different than anybody else's parents being an addict or anything. Like we tend to forget they're just like everybody else. They're no more deserving of any special treatment than anybody else. They're no more deserving of worse treatment than anybody.
They just, like me, I just had a skill in a particular area. So I did that for a job, for a living. And a nurse, if she lasts in nursing, she just has a particular skill for that kind of thing. She's educated too.
Sweet.
I worked down there, but he probably was in Cumberland. I was in Cumberland for a while, and then I come over here to Whitesburg, and I retired from Whitesburg. Dr. Luster was director. That was 70 to 74. That's about the time that I came.
You in the 80s.
Oh, I came in the 80s?
Yeah, because I was born in 76, and we were in Texas then.
Oh, okay. I must have come in the 80s, and maybe late 80s it would have been.
Yep.
I was getting that confused. But yeah, it was a good job. I loved my job. I loved being able to help people. And I felt like the college and the people that were really interested in helping the students, they made a big dent in the economy in this area. Training people to be nurses. And of course, many of them left, but still, I think it was a great thing to happen. The college changed a lot of lives, and it added to a lot of lives. So there wasn't negative to it. It was all positive, and I sort of like the positive.
Yeah, she's still teaching too. She just teaches part-time now, don't you?
Just a couple classes online.
Yeah.
But it's pretty nice. I get to chat a lot with some of the students.
Let's see. Cricket, you're more than welcome to come here to Indiana. I'd love to have you. Well, thank you, Cricket.
Well, I'd like to go in the summer.
That's the name of it, Zillow. I was a Zillow addict for about 2 years. I stayed on it on my phone looking at these beautiful homes, dreaming of buying a house.
I just like a little adobe down there in southern Arizona.
Sedona, Arizona is one of the most magical places I've ever visited.
I really have been looking at that. Now, I'm not going to go to Arizona, okay? But I did look at Sedona to see how far down it was. And Yuma, I liked Yuma.
Well, that's nice. Yes, tourist town and colleges. I guess.
Well, I like college towns. I always have. And I think that they add a lot of volume to a community in terms of nice things.
Let's see. Buckwheat, digging holes and picking banjos.
That's me, digging holes and picking banjos. I like some of this stuff you all say. I need to write it down and use it on my radio.
There you go. Tell them about your radio show.
Well, I have a radio show with Apple Shop, which is WMMT, and I'm on Thursday morning and Friday morning at 10 o'clock.
There you go.
And I'm Sweet Tater. That's why I use Sweet Tater here.
And her shows are called Out of the Blue and Taters Tubers.
Out of the Blue is early bluegrass. They have a database of music, and I try to find some really interesting stuff that you might not would hear if you didn't listen in on to the Apple Shop radio station. It's really a great thing. Apple Shop is great. It's been there for a long time. It started in probably around the 64 or 68. Somebody came with a grant and cameras, and they had a class for high school people to learn skills at video and things. And they thought they could go and get jobs other places. But those people decided to stay right here and video their own home place.
Yep. Cricket says, I used to quilt, but I can't anymore. I'm 44 and have really bad arthritis and can't sew anymore. They just don't teach kids to sew anymore. It's sad. Yeah, when I was in school, they had home ec and they taught, and the girls all took home ec. I mean, boys could take it too if they wanted, but boys didn't usually take home ec. It was just the girls. But they taught us how to cook. I remember they gave me a little egg, and I had to take the egg home and not break it.
Well, now I think what they need to do is have after school projects for kids. And like you could have Legos, right? That's one that we have. Well, we could have, little sewing things and kids could have little kits to sew. And I'm sure there's lots of community places that are doing that.
They could have little competitions. I never thought about that. My Gregory is in the Lego and robotics club, and they don't just sit down and play Legos. Like they have to create something that using scientific methods, and it has to it has to do something. So what they're making is something to walk along the ocean floor in the ocean. I don't know what it's going to do, but that's what they're doing in Lego Club. Oh, there's the deer runner.
Here's my lover man.
He's the deer runner, Brad.
He doesn't want up here now, but now let me assure you, at nighttime, he's very, very good to cuddle.
Oh, I know. Tracy Goggins says, I quilt with my mother.
That's great.
Calvin Blaine says, I mend my own clothes. Mama made many outfits I wore to grade school.
Good. We need to recycle everything we can, and we need to wear our clothes a long time. We just need to be, I'm going to call it conservative, but I'm not talking politics. I'm talking about learning to live on less to protect the resources of the world. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm a tree hugger. I'm sure you all don't know that, but I am.
Yeah, it's okay. Ain't nothing wrong with being a tree hugger, Mommy. Audrey says, love your channel. Glad I found y'all. Thank you, Audrey. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here. Cricket says, does anyone know if Mickey has any public support? Yes.
Well, I support Mickey.
He has a ton of support.
I think there's more to this story than meets the eye. I don't approve of what he did. Mm-hmm. But I do think that it was in a fit of anger.
Yeah. Yeah. William Collins says, how'd you get as your age not knowing how to sew? Well, we know how to sew, but just not like quilting. I don't know.
I know how to sew. I got a sewing machine right over here. See, this is a table that I'm at. My house is a wreck. See, right there.
Oh, there's Mommy's sewing machine.
Now, don't ask me when I used it last, but I have good intentions.
That's all that matters. Calvin Blaine, the reason folks are backing him is we all know how corrupt our towns are. Well,
I don't think we have any more corruption than any place else. I just think the justice system is got a lot of corruption in it. I think there's a lot of people in it for different reasons, and politics are involved in it and all that kind of stuff. So I don't think that we have any more corruption. But is there corruption? Yeah, I think there's corruption. And I think that they get offended easy and will take and they remember things and they take it out on people. So
yep.
I don't think they're purist at heart.
That you just hit the nail right on the head with that when you said they get offended very easily and then they take that out on you. My own personal experience, I'm not going to go into the whole story. I'm just going to say it real fast. I offended one of them, and the next thing you know, it was just awful. I was attacked by every law enforcement, county, city, everywhere.
I wanted to put a bunch of hippie signs on my van,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't do it because I feared that they would draw attention to me and I'd get stopped a lot. And it was worth it to me not to decorate it and just leave it plain, because I can do whatever I want on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
But I left the outside plain so it wouldn't
Draw attention to yourself.
And the only time I've ever been, well, now I'll take that back. I got stopped by the police not long ago because I put my brakes on in the middle of the street to go get a turtle. He was trying to cross the road, and I didn't want him doing that. But when I drove an old car, I think you're more apt to get stopped.
Yeah. Yeah. They think you don't have any insurance. Brad R. says Tater's got all the wisdom and history behind her. Hillbilly elder.
Well, yeah, probably I'm an elder. I'm a little bit, leaning towards, I suppose you say, what's the left called?
Liberal.
Yeah, I'm a liberal leaning kind of a person. They're not politics. I mean, it don't matter about politics to me. I'm going to vote for who I want to. And as long as I can, sometimes, you're in the primary and, you have to change parties to vote for. But, and like I said, I'm a tree hugger and advocate for animal rights and children's rights. And I'm not sure, it would have to be a really severe case before I called social services on somebody, because I would be fearful of what I'd stir up.
Yeah. You told me something once a long time ago. We had a neighbor that was elderly, and she was going through some really difficult times, and I wanted to call social workers, and you told me not to. And you said that sometimes when you do things like that, you just don't realize how much that hurts. It just hurts the situation. It makes it so much worse, because a lot of times they don't do anything. All they do is come and cause trouble. You didn't exactly say it that way, but
I know what you're talking about. And yes, I did tell you not to be calling nobody.
And you were right. And I've kept.
And I made sure that I helped out.
I've kept that with me ever since you told me that. I don't never, ever, 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 ever.
Well, I would if I had to.
Yeah.
But you have to figure, if the children go someplace else, if you talk about children, are they going to be better off? I don't know that they are.
Yeah. Well, that situation was an elderly person, so there wasn't no children. There wasn't no children.
I know what you're talking about, and I made sure that I kept an eye on the situation.
Yeah.
That was my part. That was part of my community duty.
Yeah, and you took care of her until she passed away, and watched over. With children, it's a lot. A lot of times,
somebody here is talking about these touch-me-nots. Yep,
okay.
There are a lot of touch-me-nots. People that have thin skin.
Yeah,
and they just have, and that's a symptom of this culture in the East Kentucky mountains, in my opinion. People might get mad at me and snub me on the street, but I think people take offense easily and early, and I think that's something that's passed down through the generations. But I think with education and people building a good feeling about themselves, that will in time dissipate.
Well, people,
it's a great place to live here.
I think people get offended so easily because of low self-esteem.
Well, yes, that's true.
If you have low self-esteem and you don't have, you don't have these wonderful lives, it's real easy to be offended. And because
you probably put so much into what you're doing, and then when somebody,
criticizes
it, then it hurts your feelings.
Yeah. All right, let's see. That too, I've thought about that. All right. Cricket. Buckwheat. This is the channel for this case. Let's see. My dog Rex, when I dress people down, I try to do it in the manner and tone of William Powell.
I don't know who William Powell is.
I don't either. You want 4 seasons and mild winters, summers. Oklahoma has them. Well,
I don't know about Oklahoma now. It seemed to me like I lived out there in Missouri. Yeah, it was pretty nice there now that I think about it. Yeah. But I don't want to be there except in the winter, you see. So that's why I thought about southern Arizona. I don't want to go to Florida, too many people.
it's too hot.
Well, I was just going in the winter.
Buckwheat says Walmart is full with Chinese sewn textiles. Well, I think all of our stores are full of a lot cheaper. Like back years ago, a pair of shoes, you could pay $120 for a really good, well-made pair of shoes that would last you a long time. Or you could go to the dollar store or Walmart and buy you a little cheap pair of shoes for $20 or whatever, and they didn't last you a month. Nowadays, that $120 pair of tennis shoes is made like, the cheap ones were 20 years ago. So I think everything has gotten worse when it comes
I
to
think the United States is covered up in clothes. And I try not to buy any clothes unless I need them. The other thing is I go down to the thrift store and look for the new shoes that people have thrown away. Given away to be sold. They can be, they can, you don't have to buy used ones. You can buy new ones. And they're advertised online all the time. And I believe people when they say they're new. And they might be for a third of what they cost new.
Mm-hmm. Twitchy Bear says, can't wait till the trial starts. You're covering it, right? Oh, yeah, we'll be here.
Might be a long time, though.
Yeah. Shame X too. Similar corruption as other places too. There was a Jamie Knoll case recently. Yeah, I want to do a video on Jamie Knoll. Jamie Knoll is the guy, if I'm not getting these two confused. I think Jamie Knoll is the sheriff I think he was from like Indiana or somewhere like that. And he's the guy. Did you ever hear of the show, Mom, called 60 Days In?
No.
Well, what it was it was kind of like Jamie Knoll, that's him. It was a like an undercover show. Like they would send people into the jail undercover and on video and stuff to find out how contraband was getting in and stuff like that. And
they should have known it was through their own guards.
And it really became a very popular show. Well, he's the one who created it, and he ended up going to prison. He got 15 years in prison for theft. Like he stole millions and millions and millions of dollars of stuff. Like,
do y'all remember Buford Pusser?
Buford Pusser. Where was he from?
Walking Tall, Tennessee, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I knew I recognized the name.
So you ought to do one on some of them other judges that shot people. You quoted a whole bunch of them yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm curious. I mean, I find that so interesting. It's sort of like, some sort of a phenomena.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I gotta go, people. My dogs went out.
Okay. Well, we'll go ahead and close this one out, Mom.
Okay.
Come tell everybody bye.
Okie dokie.
Thank you guys for being here. We'll go ahead and and wrap this up. Thank you for being in the chat, you guys. I so appreciate you. We will jump back on here and do another live tomorrow sometime. I'm gonna get mommy in.
Are you ready for me to say goodbye?
Yeah, Mom, go ahead, honey.
Sisters, now our meeting is over. Brothers, we must part.
Thank you. Take a bow. Take a bow. We love you, Mommy. We'll see you tomorrow, okay?
Yeah, buddy.
I'll be over later to get that stuff.
Okay.
I love you.
I love you.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. See you tomorrow.